Winners, Volume 2, written by Joshua Becker, narrated by Josh C. Williams. Chapter 50. The morning at the Phillip Island house was defined by a heavy, restorative silence. After the whirlwind of the past few days, the twins didn't rush to the van. They woke up as the sun hit the high beams of the living room, the ocean below a calm, shimmering expanse of turquoise. The intensity of the flight and the cross-continent sessions had left a physical hum in their muscles, a reminder of the thousands of kilometers covered. They headed out to the private dirt track behind the estate, but the energy was different. It wasn't about proving anything to a coach or hitting a specific lap time. They rode the 150s with a fluid, relaxed grace, curving lines into the familiar earth just to keep their internal gyroscopes calibrated. It was a maintenance session. Loose elbows, soft grip, and a focus on the mechanical connection between the tires and the soil. By mid-morning, the bikes were back on their stands and the dining table was buried under laptops and textbooks. The student half of their lives took over. Samantha and Alex dove into their history and math assignments, syncing their progress with the school servers back in the States. The house, usually a staging area for racing, became a quiet study hall. They worked through the curriculum with the same methodical precision they applied to a racetrack, turning in every module before the deadline. Grandma and Grandpa spent the afternoon on the deck, finally taking a moment to breathe and enjoy the architectural masterpiece they called home for the month. The pressure of the logistics had faded, replaced by the simple satisfaction of a family functioning in sync. As the twins closed their laptops, the transition was complete. They had handled the normal world. Now the conversation would turn back to the asphalt. The evening air cooled rapidly as the sun dipped behind the western ridge of the island. Inside the house, the twins huddled around a tablet on the oversized sofa for a video call to Texas. When the connection clicked through, the faces of their parents filled the screen, framed by the familiar, warm lighting of their home kitchen half a world away. There was no talk of titles or branding. Instead, the conversation was raw and detailed. They talked about the way the air thinned out over the South Australian desert and how the humidity in Darwin made the track surface feel like it was sweating. Alex described the mechanical differences between the 150s they used for the dirt and the factory 250s waiting for them at each stop, explaining the subtle changes in suspension damping required for the different climates. Samantha talked about the visual intensity of the coast from the cockpit of the Cessna, her hands moving as she described the banking turns over the great ocean road. It wasn't about the show, it was about the shared experience of a family spanning the globe. Grandma and Grandpa leaned into the frame, sharing a laugh about the sheer amount of laundry produced by 3 tracks in 3 days. Mom and Dad listened with a mix of pride and a bit of parental nerves, but they didn't push for results. They asked about the homework first, then the food, and finally the people. The twins described the international writers they'd met, focusing on the shared technical language that transcended the different accents. By the time they said their goodbyes, the house felt even more grounded. They were halfway through their Australian journey, and the support from home was the final bit of fuel they needed for the next leg. The quiet of the house was broken only by the distant, rhythmic boom of the Bass Strait against the cliffs. Samantha and Alex found Grandpa in the kitchen, peering over a map of New South Wales on his tablet. They didn't lead with a pitch. They led with a technical curiosity. They had been reading about the lighting system at Sydney Motorsport Park, a massive $16 million LED array that turned the circuit into a hyper-saturated amphitheater after dark. "Grandpa, can we see if Casey can get us to Eastern Creek?" Alex asked, leaning over the counter. "We've done the dirt, the high-speed aero, and the tropical heat, but we haven't ridden under the lights yet. We want to see how the shadows change the braking markers." Grandpa looked at them for a long beat, seeing the genuine hunger for a new kind of data in their eyes. He didn't hesitate. He pulled out his phone and sent a short, direct text to Casey.